Don't lose your way, your mind. We have to be as one.
What's going on, YouTube? Or Storm here, coming at you guys with another video today. Today I'm going to be starting my Intro to series, booting it back up. Today I'm going to be showcasing you guys True King Dinosaurs, because we are getting the dinosaur structure deck later this week. Now, a lot of you guys might be saying, Aura, why are you showing the True King variant when we don't get it for a few weeks? Well, the main thing is with dinosaurs is while they can do things without the new dinosaur, without True Kings are what really give the deck a lot of that little extra oomph. You can play it without the True King cards, but the True Kings are so good, and Diagram is such a nutty card that honestly, if you're gonna build dinosaurs, I would do is pick up the structure decks and just build it with the True King cards. You can play it without it, but there's not an engine that does what the True Kings do for this deck. So I'm not saying it can't be played with just the dinosaurs by themselves, but I feel like this is the most optimal thing to do, at least in my opinion. So all that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get to the showcase you guys True Kings and kind of introduce you to the archetype. So one of the new boss monsters in the structure deck is this card here, which is Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. A pretty nutty card. So it has a very simple summoning condition similar to BLS or Chaos Emperor Dragon. You banish 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard to special summon it from your hand. It has that same must first be special summon text as BLS. But the main thing is, during either player's main phase, you destroy 1 monster you control or in your hand. If you do, it is a Book of Eclipse. It changes all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense mode. Pretty powerful effect, really disruptive, really able during both players' main phases. You can disrupt them during their combos, and on top of that, it triggers the little babies, effects. So most of the time, this card is going to be live. It's a really powerful card. You can also pop True Kings in your hand, which is just nuts. And then on top of that, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls, similar to the old Tyranno. And if it battles a defensive position monster, it burns your opponent for 1,000 and then sends that defensive position monster to the graveyard. Which means not only are you putting all your opponent's monsters face down, but you're going to basically be able to use Tyranno to completely clear their entire board. Pretty disgusting card. You can even go down as far as 1, but I've seen a lot of builds. I would probably play 2. I feel like 2 is kind of that, medium ground where you don't always want to search it off your Overraptor. Sometimes you want to have it for that play. That's the main reason I have 2 in here. I feel like 2 is kind of the optimal number, at least in my opinion. Then for the True Kings, we have the 2 of the Fire True King, Angemazad. So you can also play the water one, but the problem is there's no waters in dinosaurs minus Norden, unless you use your VFD to change attributes. That's the main reason I just have the Vanishers in here. So if you're unfamiliar with what Angemazad does, it pops 2 fire monsters in your hand or on your field and special summons itself. And if it pops 2 fire monsters, it can banish a monster from your opponent controls or in their graveyard without targeting. But the main thing is when it's popped by a card effect, it can recycle a worm-type monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So this allows you to kind of... it gives you another way to get another level 9 to get for your VFD. So it's a pretty powerful card. 2 is kind of the optimal number in my opinion. You could also run the Busteros, but you can run 3 if you want. You don't always want to see too many True Kings in your hand. And then of course we have the Earth one, which is Lithogasm. This is the one you're going to want to summon the most, because much like it has the same summoning condition as Angemazad, but for Earth monsters. So the main thing is when it pops 2 Earth monsters, which is going to happen a lot, you can pick 3 cards from your opponent's extra deck with different names and send them to the graveyard. Also, when it is popped by a card effect, it special summons a non-Earth worm from your graveyard. Really powerful card. It's one of the main reasons this deck even functions, because you can completely cripple your opponent by knocking their best outs to your Ultimate Tyranno. You can just knock them out all right away, get their outs like Utopia the Lightning gone. Really powerful card. 3, staple of 3, and no debating in any dinosaur list. So one of the cards we did get in Raging Tempest is Miscellaneous Source. It's a common, so you can get it pretty easily. So first effect is similar to a hand trap. You can ditch it from your hand during your main phase, and dinosaur monsters, type monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. So basically, if they try to activate Regeki and you have your Tyranno out, you can just chain this from your hand, and because Regeki is an activated effect, it won't do anything. So that is pretty powerful. that is a pretty nasty effect, being able to stop your opponent from outing your Tyranno. And then from your, when it's in your graveyard, you can banish any number of dinosaur monsters from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon a dinosaur from your deck with level equal to the total banished to activate this effect, but destroy it during the end phase. Most of the time, you're going to use this to summon your little Tyranno Infinity here, and it's going to have a pretty hefty amount of attack points. So most of the time, that's what you're going to do. You can also summon your Dolgoran via the effect. That is pretty decent. Being able to, Miscellaneous Source is probably one of the best cards in this deck, and it's also a fire for your Agnamazad. Then we have for the Stratos the deck, the 3 Soul Devouring Oviraptors. When it's normal special summon, you can take one dinosaur from your deck and you can send it to the grave or add it to your hand. And then it can also destroy a level 4 dinosaur monster on the field. Special summon a dinosaur monster from your graveyard. Pretty powerful card. Being able to search any dinosaur or send one to the graveyard, like your Miscellaneous Source, to set up combo plays is really nice. And it can pop your Baby Saurus and your Petrodon, which is always nice. Then we have the one conductor Tyranno Infinity. We have the Tyranno Infinity. The main thing is this is just an OTK enabling card. You're going to banish a lot of things with this deck. So what this card does is gets 1,000 attack for each banished dinosaur. So oftentimes between Tyranno and your Miscellaneous Source, you're going to have maybe 5 banished dinosaurs in your graves. This kind of thing is going to be sitting on 5,000 attack pretty easily, and it's an OTK enabling card. It's one of those cards you don't always want to draw it, but when you have it, it's really nice. Then we have the babies. We have the 3 Baby Saurus and the 3 Petrodon. The important thing to remember about these cards is that they are not once per turn. Whenever they are popped by a card effect, you can special summon one level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck. Typically, this is going to be your Oviraptor, so you can continue bringing Oviraptors out of your deck, but the main thing is they aren't once per turn. But the main thing with these guys, you can bring out your other dinosaurs like a Miscellaneous Saurus, your Drak, whatever, even your Dolgoran if you want. You can or basically not Dolgoran, but any level 4 or lower can keep coming out with these guys. Yeah, a lot of them are hard once per turn, like your Oviraptor, but the main thing is you're bringing monsters out of your deck for basically free, and you can pop them with both your Tyranno, your Agnamazad, and your Lithogasm. Really powerful cards, and I feel like there are staples at 3. Now, the interesting tech I have in here is one Dirac Alios. So if you're unfamiliar with what Alio is mainly here because you can bring him out off your Baby Source and Petrodon and go into some neat synchro plays. It's an easy searchable one of, and it's easily searchable via both Fossil Dig and your babies. So it's pretty easily accessible. It's not really a problem. If you do happen to draw it, you can always, normal summon it, and there's a lot of cool little combos I'm going to get into later about the card, and it is a fire monster, so you can blow it up your Agnamazad. The interesting tech I do have here is the one Dolgoran. Dolgoran is surprisingly the only dinosaur kaiju, but you can actually bring this out with your Oviraptor, and kaijus are always being able to just remove something out of the way is pretty nice, and it's a fire for your Agnamazad, and it's a dinosaur, so it has obvious synergy with the deck. You could play other kaijus, but Dolgoran's pretty decent as just a one-of. The one Max C, even though it is limited, I still feel like Max C is a pretty powerful card. Yeah, you won't see it as often, but you still have basically like a 12% chance to draw it, I believe, is what Phoenix Flare posted in one of his videos. So it's pretty decent. I still feel like as long as it's legal, you should play it at the maximum you're allowed to play it. Then for these spells, we have the one Upstart Goblin for consistency. We have the one Regeki, the 2 instant fusions for our. You kind of want to see your Norden for allowing. Norden allows you to get a lot of your Gaga Samurais and your OTK plays enabled. We have the 3 terraformings for our field spell, which is Draconic Diagram. This card is going to see a lot of play once Maximum Crisis comes out. We don't know the rarity of it yet. It wasn't leaked in the OTS4 leaks. So the main thing about this card is you can just, it's not once per turn. You can destroy one other card in your hand or you control, and if you do, add one True Draco, True King from your deck to your hand. This basically gets the whole engine kick-started, and it's the card you need to see in your opening hand to get the whole engine going. Pretty powerful card. Definitely could be a secret rare. So, obviously this deck might not be too budget, but we do know VFD, the new Exceeds, is a super rare, so at least there's that. The 3 Fossil Digs, I'd be shocked if this wasn't in the structure deck. It's a Stratos for basically it's a Rhoda for your entire most of your dinosaur lineup. So you pretty much want to maximize on cards like Rhoda if you have them. Then the 2 Cosmic Cyclones. The major reason I'm playing this over Twin Twisters is this card, Diagram. you can play a lot of different removal, but the main thing is all the True Draco and True King spells and traps float kind of like Metal Foes. So Cosmic Cyclone is probably the best all-around removal card going into the next format, at least in my opinion. And two-dimensional barriers, you can probably play anything else you want in this slot if you don't have them. But I feel like as long as if you have them, you should probably be playing at least 2 copies in just about every deck. I don't know how good this will be going into the True King, True Draco format, because obviously this doesn't really do a lot against Masterpiece, but we will see. Next for the extra deck, we have the 1 Norden for our instant fusion with the 1 Chambara. This card actually spiked like crazy a few days ago. I think I still have one, but basically Chambara is really powerful because it allows you to push a lot of damage. You can push 44 damage. I believe it's 4,400 damage online, 4,600 damage online. You know, it's a half an OTK on its own. The 1 Nat Beast. Now you might be asking, looking at this saying, Aura, you can't make Nat Beast. Why are you playing Nat Beast when you don't have any Earth tuners? Well, the main cool thing you can do is you happen to have a VFD out, you can chain its effect to change all your monsters to Earth attribute. So what you can do is, if you have a Jurak and say an Overraptor online, you can activate VFD's effect to change everything to Earth attribute, and then make a Nat Beast. Pretty decent. Nat Beast is a blowout against a lot of really powerful decks. Really good against the True King, True Draco deck. Yeah, they can, like, their spells and traps float, but if you can just use Nat Beast to negate their field spell, they often can't get the ball rolling. And this is going to be, I think, a defining card to be able to, yes, the spells and traps float, but if you do stop their diagram, unless they open the nuts, it's really going to be a struggle for them. Next, we have the 1 Danglong. This is actually a very interesting card in this list, considering I don't play Yang Zings. But the cool thing about Danglong is if you have Danglong in any other True King online, it opens up a lot of flexible plays. You can make Ultimate Zolkin with your Danglong and then bring out a Crystal Wing or a Scarlight, or you can make a VFD or another rank 9 with it. It's a really flexible card. Yes, we don't play Yang Zings, but this card is pretty powerful. It has a lot of setup plays for the deck, and I like it. And cool, and a lot of the neat things you can do, for example, is if you summon Pop a Lithogasm, you can bring back the monster you sent with Danglong. It's a pretty decent card. But with True King Dinos, you have a lot of flexibility in the extra deck because there's only a few cards you really go into consistently, so you can pretty much play a lot of different things. We have the 1 Zolkin for our we use our Danglong to make this. We have the Scarlight. You could probably play any other, Dragon Synchro you want in this slot. So I just have Scarlight because I like the card. You could play Void Ogre. I don't play Void Ogre in this list. You could play Void Ogre as well, but I don't think Dinos really empty their hand very much, so pretty much play anything in this slot. And then, of course, we have the Crystal Wing. Strong card. Easy to bring out with Zolkin. Can make some pretty disgusting boards, so yeah. Then we have the 1 Trishula. Trishula is pretty easy to go into in this deck. You just need 2 level 4s and a Jurak online, which is easy as heck to make in this list. So I feel like Trish is one of those cards where if you have the space and you can go into it, it can be a blowout against a lot of decks. We have the 1 Dweller for those graveyard hate decks, and for the True King mirrors. True King being able to turn off all of those grave effects of those spells and traps is pretty powerful. And being able to just turn off their entire engine for a turn can win you the game in a lot of situations. We have the 1 Dolka and the 1 Lagia. Even though Dolka and Lagia are still very strong cards, I think there's a lot of instances where you make multiples of these. Yes, they're good cards, but a lot of situations you'd rather be doing other things like bringing out your VFD. Dolka's basically it's kind of sad to say this after all this time, but Dolka and Lagia are kind of like the icing on the cake at this point. You can play more of them if you want, but I don't see more than one of these really coming up that often. Then we have the 1 Gaga Samurai. Samurai allows you to push OTK damage in, much like your Chambara. If you have this and a Chambara, it can be game ending in a lot of situations. You could play a lot of other rank 4s in the spot like Estelle, but I just find that typically True Kings can easily just remove problems anyways. They have the 2 VFDs. So this card is pretty nuts to have to stare down. So its effect, it is a generic rank 9, 2 or more level 9 monsters, so you can make it in other decks. Like, I might have it in my Prediction Princess deck, actually. But anyways, so once per turn, during either player's turn, you detach an exceed material from this card. You declare 1 attribute. For the rest of this turn, face-up monsters on the field become that attribute, and monster opponent possession with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. Pretty disgusting, but that's not it, but there's more. So if you would destroy monsters with a directive of True Drake or True King, you can also destroy monsters your opponent controls. So basically you can remove their monsters for free as well. A lot of my decks, just if they have to stare down this card, just struggle, and it I know a lot of you guys watching this, or you can just kaiju it. Yeah, but the fact is, you still aren't going to be able to kill your opponent that turn because you can't attack, and you still aren't going to be able to activate a lot of your different monster effects because a lot of times your opponent will just chain this. A smart opponent will do what they did with ABC Dragon Buster and just chain this in the standby phase. So, ridiculously good card, and I'm really glad it's a super rare actually because it means more people will actually play this deck hopefully. Then for the last card in the extra deck, we had the one Phantom Fortress. Phantom Fortress is a pretty strong card. It's able to banish anything without targeting, from different locations. It's always strong, and I feel like if gives you non-targeting removal, so you could. While True King's Dinos do have Tyranno, sometimes being able to just non-target banish something is nice. So anyway, guys, about comes the end of the Intro to profile today. Let me know what you guys think of True King Dinosaurs. Are you interested in building this deck? Are you worried that Diagram might be rarity bumped? Let me know down in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys for watching. This is Storm signing out.